Recording in progress.
American Canyon Fire Protection District Board meeting for May 24, 2022. Please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Be seated, please. Roll call, please.
Board Member Joseph,
Here.
Board Member Oro,
Here.
Board Member Washington,
Here.
Chair Garcia.
Here. Before on closed session, consultation with reportable action.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you convened in open session at 5:40 PM to address the matters agendized for closed session. You concluded closed session at 6:48. And with respect to the matters considered, I will do a written report upon return from closed session consistent with Government Code Section 54-957.1. That would conclude the report unless there are questions.
Any questions for board directors?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Move on, proclamations and presentations, there are none this evening. Public comment, have we received any public comment on items not on the agenda?
No, Chair.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to any agenda changes. If none, I'll accept the motion to accept the consent calendar.
So moved. I'll second.
Motion second, roll call please.
Board Member Joseph,
Yes.
Board Member Oro,
Yes.
Board Member Washington,
Yes.
Chair Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Congratulations to the, for your appointment.
Yeah.
We look forward to you being part of the fire district. Public hearings, we have none. Business? Item 5, approve resolution 2022-08, authorizing services agreement for first response to advanced life support services with the American Canyon Medical Response Plus.
Thank you, Chair. So as you know, we've been in negotiations with American Medical Response for the last several months in regards to what is referred to as a FRALS agreement, or a first responder ALS agreement. Essentially what this agreement would do would allow American Medical Response to use our on-scene times to give them a 2-minute credit in their response times for emergency incidents within the fire district. This is a part of their compliance piece in which in the recent EOA, or Emergency Operating Agreement, between the County of Napa and American Medical Response for ALS, for ground transportation services within the county. This was something that is allowable under that agreement for them to essentially purchase services from the ALS providers here in the county, both ourselves and the Napa Fire Department. So after it's probably been maybe 5 to 6 months of negotiations, we've reached an agreement both on dollars, and the dollars were actually, we reached an agreement on very early in negotiations, but some of the subsequent language of the agreement, we've reached an agreement obviously through our last negotiations, which was a couple weeks ago. So now bringing it to the board for consideration and approval so that we can execute this agreement, and the agreement would go into effect as early as tomorrow. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have in regards to this matter.
Thank you for board's consideration. Well, like I said, it is still about the financial comment from the board? No. Board ready for public comment?
Yes.
Any from the public wishing to comment on this matter? Okay, I'll close public comment. Return to the board for further discussion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2022-08, a resolution of the American Canyon Fire Protection District adopting the services agreement for first response advanced life support services between the American Canyon Fire Protection District and American Medical Response West.
I'll second.
Motion and second, roll call, please.
Board Member Joseph?
Yes.
Board Member Oro?
Yes.
Board Member Washington?
Yes.
Chair Garcia?
Yes, thank you, Board. Move on to item 6, Board of Directors to determine format for future board meetings. 1, in-person only. 2, teleconference only. 3, hybrid, both in-person and teleconference.
Thank you, Chair. So at the last board meeting, board members gave staff direction to come back with an analysis of the 3 options of delivering our board meetings to the public. If you go to the next slide, please. So obviously, we have a couple different options, really 3. A hybrid, which would be a combination of both Zoom and in-person meeting only, or a Zoom meeting only. The 4th option or question we're seeking direction on is we also currently broadcast the board meetings on Napa TV, and again, seeing if the board's direction would be to continue that as well. Next slide, please. So obviously, hybrid meetings in as we're starting to come out of the COVID pandemic provides a lot of different options. One, obviously, is the visibility. It's much easier at times for the public to log on, watch a meeting remotely. And then obviously, of course, you still have the option for those that wish to attend in person. Convenience, obviously it is, as I said earlier, it is convenient for the community. It is also convenient at times for board members or staff to be able to log on remotely. By crossing and using both of these methods, both in person and virtual, it could potentially increase the community's awareness in the business needs and happenings of the fire district. Then obviously the last one would be it could promote social distancing by having less members of the public in the boardroom. Community outreach. As part of our analysis, we conducted community outreach from May 3rd to May 18th. We used a variety of platforms to include Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor, and American Canyon Happenings. In total, we received 27 responses. I would like to put this disclaimer out, though, with the responses that we did receive. We have no way to validate that it was a single vote by a single person or multiple votes by the same person, or even if the people voting, because of the far reach of social media, if the people voting were actually residents of either American Canyon or the fire district. So with that, obviously you can see that hybrid got the most votes at 67%, with in-person a close second, not close second, but second, and then teleconference only at 11%. But again, it's important that we truly don't know the voters if it was the same person voting multiple times. We did an analysis of the last, since June 29th of our virtual meetings and what the attendance was. As you can see, the average attendance was 1.3. During badge pinnings, we had, in November, we had our highest Zoom attendees of 4. So while the survey showed one thing, I think the reality of what we have experienced through the virtual meeting platform shows that quite often virtual attendance is not very high. Next slide, please. So we also wanted to conduct a fiscal analysis, and part of the fiscal analysis, as you see, obviously with a hybrid meeting includes the highest cost. Now this was for the annual cost of conducting the meetings. Staff time was also included in this, as part of our cost. It's also important, while we talk about a financial implication to conducting these meetings, there's also the loss of staff time where staff could be working on other projects or other priorities for the fire district. But because the preparation and execution of the hybrid meetings are very staff intensive, in fact, our two administrative superheroes, Laura and Martha, are here. So it takes 100% of our administrative support to make the hybrid meetings go and operate smoothly, to where in-person has the least impact on staff to conduct. Go ahead, next slide, please. We have other potential expenses that need to be determined. The city has indicated that if we continue in a hybrid manner, there may be some costs that the city's incurred that we potentially would need to help supplement or help offset, because we would also be using the same infrastructure. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions from the board?
Well, first of all, thank you for the report and the analysis. And I think the survey, part of the problem with the survey, besides being a relatively small response, and we don't know if it was single or whatever, it also, I'm guessing it only asked, which would you prefer? We weren't able to say, you know, would you prefer a hybrid even though it's the most expensive approach? Because some people might look and say, I'm thinking of myself, if somebody asked, I would say, well, hybrid, of course, because you got all your options, it's convenient, it's the best of both worlds. If you said it's also the most expensive scenario, then I might reconsider and look at something other than that. So the survey was a great idea, but I'm not so sure it's going to be determinative to me, at least. So then it's the financial analysis. In-person only without being televised is fairly inexpensive, but now I'm beginning to think, as a board clerk now, how do we I mean, then if we don't televise it, is it recorded here and just not broadcast, so it'll be available on Zoom? Or all we would get is the minutes of the meeting and that's it? Because at the other end, I'm a little uncomfortable saying there is no record of this other than minutes, you know, because the city at least has always been able to record it, and you know, you can watch it later or whatever. So the question in my head is, what would the in-person only, but either televising it or recording it in some fashion, so that it's available for future reference?
And that is an option for consideration. When we put this together, we envisioned that the in-person would result in minutes that were available, not a recording and then broadcast later.
And so then that fourth option, would that require, obviously Napa TV would be involved because they're the ones doing it. Would DNIs be as much of a requirement if it was just being televised?
I don't believe if it was just televised, if we would have much of an impact on DNI.
Because that's, you know, roughly 10,000. So like 60, 70% of the cost of the options is DNI. Not, we are.
We're not charging for this. We're donating our time. I think for purposes of this analysis,
Yeah.
we just came up with fair market value. But neither the district or the city is paying for any of this support. But we would like you to factor it in
Right.
for decision purposes.
Okay.
As it relates to recording,
Could you, if we are recording now, I suppose we the point of the exercise would be to have you to come up.
So, in recognition of the budget challenges the city and the district are both facing, DNI is not charging for any of the services, nor does it ever intend to in this current contract. But we want you to be aware that there is typically a fair market value for the service rendered, and we just wanted that to be transparent. as it relates to recording a session, the recording downstairs by Napa TV, which I do believe is the cost of the city, occurs every time you stream to the cable channel. You could record the Zoom session even if it wasn't broadcast and post that on a website, and people could review that from a website, and that's a common practice that some municipalities do who don't have the infrastructure and the support systems necessary to do that. And those can live as an archive along with the minutes of the meeting and could possibly help.
Thank you. So, I mean, with that in mind, I'm partial to the option that allows it to be recorded. Maybe not a hybrid or per se, but at least an option that includes Napa TV in the equation. But they're $1,600-1,700 a year, which is kind of a manageable cost. And I appreciate the fact that DNI isn't charging us, but I'm hoping that if it's a TV recording only and it's the person downstairs, there wouldn't be that need whether we paid for it or not. That's kind of the question I'm trying to get it to.
There are many technical components, and which is why I or one of my senior staff have to be here. This is streamed to YouTube, it's streamed to the Granicus website, it's streamed to Napa Television. There are a lot of technical gadgets that have to flange up perfectly for things to work. And if any of them get out of sync, then it all screams to a halt. And so that's the reason why I or my designee is here every meeting, because technology is the devil's tool and it can let you down at the worst possible time. So
We've already seen that a few times. So, okay. Well, like I said, for me, I would like to see it at least recorded, even if we don't try to be as clever as the city side, because they do have a bigger audience, at least have it recorded, and then it can be posted after the fact.
Mhm.
Those are my comments.
Okay. Councilmember Washington?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I would say that you had two slides in it that made.
Sorry, Director Washington.
Oh, no problem. First, I would say there's two slides that you presented that kind of like helped me capture my thought process. It was the one with the board meeting attendance slide that told the true story. You know, although your other slide gave the residents the option to provide the survey, as you mentioned, we can't tell if it was one person that just wanted to come to meetings all the time, you know, and just dotted the like all the time. So, but the true slide was who actually comes to these meetings. And then the financial analysis. Now I sound like board member Mark Joseph. But I look at that and I say that from a number standpoint, what's the return on the investment? And when I look at that, I say, well, it might be a value that people can or cannot take advantage of, but it takes away the resource from the fire department. And that's what I look at. From a public safety standpoint, as much as I love seeing Martha and Laura, we are taking them away from something they could be doing that has higher priorities than just sitting aside here for one or two items. And to board member Joseph's point about liking to have it recording, I also think that's a great idea. However, but the return on the investment in that doesn't make financial sense. Now, I really sound like board member Joseph. So that's my take on it.
Thank you. Board member Oro.
So I put my accounting hat on, and I did the numbers, just sort of back of the napkin numbers here, or yellow legal pad numbers. If we went with the hybrid solution, we have the total cost there, but for 11 meetings, that's $1,428 per meeting. If we did with the Zoom meeting only, it's $1,254 per meeting. If we did it just in person without being televised, it's $222 per meeting. At the suggestion of Board Member Joseph, I took the TV cost and the staff cost for the recording, which I'm assuming to be true. It's about $4,000 a year. That's $372 a meeting. $372. So first of all, I for the numbers that we get to come to these meetings, I can't justify spending $1,400, $1,200 for 1.3 people a meeting. And if you go back to your one slide, there were 3 meetings where there was 0 people attending, and on Zoom. So it's not there. So that said, I'm inclined to either go with in-person only without being televised, and I can almost justify it to being recorded as well, because it's a nominal price higher. So $372 being recorded only, and $204 with just no recording, it's a $168 difference. So basically, if we were to record it, at least these numbers that I have is $372 per meeting versus $222. I can't justify, meaning we could use that money elsewhere within the department, on training, on equipment, or whatever we need to do. If there were dozens of people here every day and online every time we met, sure. Now let us remember as a board too, and as a public, pre-COVID, we were just showing up here, right? And that's how it was, and it worked out perfectly fine. Public still got to be involved. The public can still be involved and do this. So I'm inclined to either go without being televised or being televised. It doesn't really make a difference to me.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate the presentation. I'm wondering on the survey, was there a question about their preference? Have you attended the board, one of these fire district board meetings? Because, you know, the board meeting attendance record here shows, as been pointed out by several of us already, the very low attendance rate. And we've had that opportunity during COVID for Zoom fire district board meetings as well. So these obviously represent those in attendance. There's not a whole lot of interest. I'm concerned that I'm for in-person as we've done. I think part of it's going to be what the public wants. Certainly the more in support of a recording, however we get that. Frankly, I need a little more information in terms of what's it take to run that type of operation here and the cost of it. I think the benefit of having that is a visual video recording of the proceedings that went on. In case there were somebody had a question or issue about it, they could certainly take the time to review the meeting. So I would support it in that direction. I think Board Member Oro, your calculations were just for video recording?
Yeah, just a video recording. If I do my numbers right, and I'm not a math major,
Yeah.
372.
Right, 372. All right. And that would be accessible through the city webpage?
Yeah, I think you end up getting a video file of some sort, and you can even go on YouTube after that. So
Fine. No. I think probably the intent of the law with open meetings could be satisfied with that. Mr. Ross, could you weigh in on it?
Whatever the intent of the board is, I think the principal issue would be if you choose the in-person meeting, you're gonna have to legally record it in some way.
All right.
Right? So that would be the only thing. that
So
I-
legally recording, would that mean video or just minutes?
Recording device.
Say again?
A recording device.
Recording device, okay.
Right.
like a pen and a paper.
No, like some type of electronic.
Electronic recording.
So, in other words, we do need to record it via Napa TV.
Yeah.
So
But even if we had that, we don't have to have the bells and whistles where it focuses on one talker. It could be the whole group.
No, as long as you have the audio component that goes with it, I think would satisfy that. It's a proof of our attendance here.
Right.
Sir? Was that your comment? No, I was going to say something else. Oh, okay.
So, Zoom is a recording, and even if you didn't stream it, which is what Napa does, it is a file that I believe satisfies. Now, Bill Ross and he represents me. I don't practice law. I don't pretend to, but Zoom is a recording, and so you could cut out the Napa television piece and some of the technical complexities. You could meet at the fire department in a conference room. You could meet here. And as long as someone powered up a computer with a video camera, you can create a Zoom meeting, even if you don't broadcast it, and save that file off. If that format, and there are other recording formats too, but what you need is a laptop and a webcam and the ability to capture audio. So there are other ways to get that meeting done that's consistent with the fire department's analysis that doesn't involve Napa Television. And I just wanted that to be viewed as an option. I don't know what the incremental cost is from Napa TV.
So I'm assuming it's like some of the board meetings I attend that are away from city council. They go on for Zoom meetings. Somebody in that organization may be using the camera on their computer.
Yes, sir. You
To record it?
could set up in a conference room similar to how your closed sessions
Yeah.
are currently set up, where there's a laptop and a video recorder, and you can make a recording of that, and that could post and satisfy the requirements for, the
Okay,
legal piece.
I would be in favor of trying that. Yeah. Other comment, council member, or board member Joseph, you were on your comment.
The only other comment I wanted to make is, to the extent that the city's invested in the infrastructure, we always have the option of saying, hey, this particular meeting will be a hybrid. If we have another badge pinning, for example, or we're going to do something that we reasonably expect a crowd, we can always pivot and pick up the incremental cost for that meeting. So I like the idea of dropping down, either using Napa TV to record it, or if we can find a more practical, less expensive option, a la Zoom, that would be good too. Something so we have a permanent record as well as the minutes.
Very good. Board member Oro.
Yeah, just commenting on that Zoom part there and using that as a recording. There's a point where where we're saving money and then also quality. I just can't imagine us putting a laptop and a Zoom camera on here. We have facilities here to record this already. It's going to be a lot nicer presentation in the end. And, again, the nominal difference, at least what I have here based on this pricing, and maybe staff could come back to us and let us know what that is, final numbers. I think we can approve this tonight with final numbers of what a recording would look like that is respectable, if you will, not just some Zoom camera sitting on that corner over there capturing everybody.
I would support that as well.
Further discussion needed on the matter? Board members ready for public comment?
Yes.
Public comment on this?
Yes, good evening. Beth Marcus. I actually prefer in person, and considering the low attendance, I mean, like you discussed it the last time, why would people be here? I mean, the fire department does a great job. Is somebody going to complain that they put their fire out? I don't think so. So considering the fact that we have low attendance, I don't know why we would need to record, because you could always read the minutes instead of, having to go through the expense of recording. And just for the record, I did not vote all 23 times, Powell.
Is that because you don't have an Instagram account?
Powell Holmes, 309 Kimberly Drive, lifelong resident, American Canyon. I'm for personal, being in person. Yeah, there's only a few of us, but it gives us opportunity when there's a badge pinning or recognition of one of our firefighters for many years of service. If you do away with the personal, then we don't have the ability to be here and thank them for their service. So I'm totally for in person.
Thank you.
Hi, Board. Mary Tabbert, American Canyon resident, 45 years.
Should pull a mic there. There you go. That's
I am for in person. I am also for being broadcasted on TV. Because, as you know, I'm not here at every meeting, but just because I'm not here doesn't mean I'm not watching you. As you guys know, because I'll text you. But in the event that something's going on and I am not able to make the meeting, I always watch it on TV. I'm for both.
Thank you. I think that's our audience on that. With that being said, we'll close public comment, return to the board for further discussion, desired action. I think my support goes with in person with a recording.
So the resolutions before us actually don't have that option. We have a resolution to meet in person Could I amend the existing resolution?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to adopt resolution number 2022 next in order. A resolution of the American Canyon Fire Protection District authorizing in-person meetings of the legislative bodies of the American Canyon Fire District with a recording,
Would be electronic?
an electronic recording. And I'll leave staff to figure that out, and I think the answer is Napa TV of some sort. So that's my motion.
I'll second that.
Motion and second, roll call, please.
Board Member Joseph?
Yes.
Board Member Oro?
Yes.
Board Member Washington?
Yes.
Chair Garcia?
Yes. Thank you, Board. Moving on now to Fire Chief oral report.
Thank you. Very brief report. I just wanted to share with the board and members of the public that American Canyon Fire District family grew last week. Firefighter paramedic Francisco Cano and his wife had their first baby daughter,
Oh,
Liliana.
congratulations.
So they're doing well. I'm sure that firefighter Cano will be looking forward to coming to work so he can get some sleep. But in the interim, he and his new family are doing well, and we're very excited for them as they embark on this new adventure with young Liliana.
Please convey our congratulations to him and his family. Thank
I
you.
will.
What a
Thank you.
blessing.
And that's it for my oral report tonight.
Thank you. Next is Chair, Board comments, committee reports, future agenda items. Anything from the board?
I think Chief Cahill sent me a text or an email saying that he plans on having a report on the Section 201 ambulance services for June, and
Okay.
so that'll be
Look forward to
exciting.
that.
And
Right.
so June could be a busy month.
Yes. All right. Anything further?
Just real quick, just ask for a moment of silence at the end for the families of the victims of the children that were murdered in Texas.
Oh,
Just ask for a moment of silence, and
no.
I almost get tired of asking for that because it happens so frequently.
It's
so,
happening too fast.
Should be tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have any future agenda items, Chair, but after, at adjournment of the meeting, could I ask the board members to stay really quick? And if, can I ask DNI to come up? I have a suggestion on this setup here. Just wanted, it's a administrative thing.
Oh, okay.
Well, we also have a city closed session after this anyway, so.
Yeah, but it's gonna take 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we don't get to go home after this
Yeah,
meeting
of course.
either way, so no problem.
All right. Well, that said, what was that city in South Texas? Uvalde. Yeah. Well, board, we will convene with a moment of silence before we convene for the victims, 14 victims, 15 in Uvalde, Texas.
18,
Yeah, 18 and 2 teachers.
it's 22.
It's gone up to 22 now?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you. Hope, all the best for the families, hope finding the comfort and support they need at this hour. And we are adjourned.
Good night.
Oh. This meeting's over. You had something you wanted to take up?
Yeah, can we, and Martha, you may wanna know this too, so, turn these mics on. So, when we do these meetings, today we were looking to the left,
Yeah.
okay? Well, we usually, when we do council meetings,